Betting on sports can be hard, but hiring Morgan & Morgan is easy. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/bestbets or dial pound law, pound 529 from your cell phone. That's forthepeople.com/bestbets. This is a paid advertisement.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Looking for some action? Our friends at First Bet have you covered. Sign up today to unlock exclusive promotions. Watch and wager on hundreds of exciting horse races every day across the country and around the world. Sign up firstbet.com, promo code VSiN200. Claim a 20% rebate for your first 60 days, up to $200. Head to firstbet.com today.
We'll hit college football here as Dennis Dodd has done a great job covering the sport for many, many years. He's with CBS Sports, and he joins the program here on the Progressive Guest Line. Dennis, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Good. Hey, Mitch. Hey, Paul. How are you?
Doing really well,
sir.
really well. I want to ask you here in a couple of minutes who you think will and or should win the Heisman Trophy, but let's start here. You wrote a letter to the president of the Heisman Trust a good decade ago now explaining why you were going to give up your Heisman vote. Can you explain to the audience your decision back then, and do you regret it to this day, Dennis?
I don't regret it. It was, at the time, it was kind of arbitrary and came in midstream where, you had these votes and they were going to change it to the fact that if you write anything about your vote the week of the Heisman, you're subject to losing your vote. And I got a real nasty letter where someone had highlighted something I'd written and said, if you do this again, you'll lose your vote. And I got more and more worked up on it the more I thought about it. And I said, then it's fine, take my vote. And I wrote this open letter to the Heisman Trust president. I don't remember who it was at the time. Actually I won an award for it. I got a Football Writers Association award for writing about it. That's beside the point. I thought it was wrong on a couple of counts. It was, to me, it's censorship to do it then. Now it's a condition of getting a vote. You have to promise not to write about it, which I think is dumb. And that's why I do a straw poll every year and contacting voters anonymously for their vote. I think it serves the public good. The other thing is, if you're a business or you're selling something, do you not want people to talk about it? Mm-hmm. Maybe the Heisman is such an institution that they don't need the exposure. And it was almost a tradition for people to do straw polls and get as many voters as they could. And it still goes on. I'm not the only one who does this every year. But I just thought it did a service to the players and the game, and it doesn't hurt anybody. I think, and I've suspected this for a long time, I think ESPN did it to somehow, quote unquote, hype the suspense, and you guys know as well as anybody. In most years, I'd say 8 out of 10 years, we know by now who's going to win it. We know who's going to win tomorrow. Come on, let's not kid ourselves. So in doing so, it's just, I don't know. That just caught me. Again, as I said, now it's a condition of getting a vote. So these guys and girls agree not to do it. So fine.
So what did the straw poll say? Because in the last couple of weeks, Genty has gone from 20-1 down to 8-1 right now.
Yeah, this was all these were assembled in the last week, and it's Hunter by somewhat of a substantial margin. I can look it up. I think he got 76. There 29 votes, so not exactly a scientific poll. 3% of the voters, but I got that many. 76 points. And I think Genty was second with 67, and then Gabriel was third. And then it kind of went down from there. Bryson Daly got a couple of votes, by the way.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And
and I suspect that's the order it'll be in.
Okay. Huh. And you would vote for Hunter? Yeah.
Yeah. I did a different part of that earlier in the week. I did, what my ballot would look like, and I had Hunter first. Earlier in the season, they'd asked me to do, since I've been around so long, that's another way of saying I'm old. So who are the 10 best players you've seen in person? Maybe not the 10 best, but the 10 best I've seen in person. And at that time, Barry Sanders was number one. Travis Hunter was number two. And and this is talking about decades of covering college football. I still can't fathom what he does at a high level. Averaging 120 snaps over the last 2 years. That includes special teams. That includes penalties, offense, defense, and the human element. What it takes to play that many football plays is amazing to me. So he's high up there for me.
Dennis Dodd, our guest, national football writer, CBS Sports. On the Progressive Guest Line, follow the Money, Paulie and Mitch VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. I know you tweeted about it a lot. Can't wait for tomorrow. Army, Navy always lives up to the hype, but you have an 11-win team against an 8-win team, and the Army team that just took out Tulane, and how good Daly's been. What do you think? What is your prediction of what happens tomorrow with Army, Navy?
I suspect Army will win, but as is the case with this game, the result is almost secondary to the spectacle. And I would urge anyone who hasn't gone, who loves college football, to try to go once in your lifetime, because it's everything they tell you about it and more. I got to go in 21, the first game back from COVID, and it was incredible just to go down on the sidelines before the game and see the march on and see all the dignitaries, and see when Army came out of the tunnel, and I'm standing in one end zone at MetLife, and the Navy cadets are yelling and pointing and cussing at them like it was the Iron Bowl. I mean, you could not believe the things were coming out of their mouths, and vice versa, Army versus Navy. And that to me told me it doesn't matter what their records are. There's a big rivalry here. They hate each other, but there's a larger, thing in place here where they both work for the same goal in serving the country. But it was really, really cool.
You've been doing this a long time. Where does Belichick going to North Carolina rank on the shock surprise factor angle?
Yeah, pretty big. There's so many kind of irons and tentacles to this and the fire to discuss. But I think the fact that, and now it's come out that the AD, Bubba Cunningham, was cut out of it. He wanted someone, a college guy, someone younger, a John Sumrall at Tulane. If not him, then Glenn Schumann, coordinator at Georgia. Even Tommy Rees, the tight ends coach at the Cleveland Browns, was on his list.
Yeah.
But he was cut out of this at the end. The chancellor at North Carolina, the board of trustees, wanted or were talked into taking Bill Belichick. And, for better or worse, can he do this in this climate? Absolutely. We've now seen it's possible pretty quickly. Curt Cignetti at Indiana, Deion, Lane Kiffin have turned around programs pretty quickly. It can be done, but this guy has never coached in college. We'll see how he manages 18-year-olds when their parents come in wanting more NIL money. It's not a balanced locker room right now in college, whereas in the pros, you've got slotted draft structures. Everybody knows what everybody makes, and that's what they deserve. That's where they got drafted. If you get a second contract, you're more respected in the locker room because you've proved yourself. In every locker room in the country, we've now got freshmen coming in making more than accomplished seniors. How do you think that works out in some of those locker rooms? It worked with the Patriots because he's really hard to work for. It worked with the Patriots because they won. And we'll see if it works with North Carolina. The other thing is, I think we know where this is headed because we've seen this clause in Bill's contract where his buyout goes down to $1 million on July 1st. I think that tells you if there's an NFL job available after next season, not this season, after next season, he's out of there. He's trying to get his son, Steve, to be the coach in waiting. So everybody goes into this with their eyes open. It's all there in the contract, so we'll see.
Great answer. Dennis, we have like 90 seconds left here. In all of these first-round matchups that we have in the playoffs, every favorite is favored by more than a touchdown. Do you give a team an underdog or multiple dogs a puncher's chance to be in it late and potentially win?
I'll answer it a different way. The most fascinating game to me is Tennessee, Ohio State, because Ohio State is a very fragile program right now, even though they're favored by a good amount against Tennessee. I don't have to tell you why. Michigan, everything else. If on the second series of the game, coming off the Michigan game, if they are bogged down, you will hear them being booed in their home stadium because they were against Michigan.
Yes.
And how does that affect the team? How does that affect Ryan Day? Can he keep his job? The AD came out yesterday and said he's definitely going to be the coach in August for the next season. But that's his decision. What about Ryan Day's decision to stay on as coach? So that one's got the most intrigue for me.
Yeah, I would totally agree. You can follow Dennis on X. He's at Dennis.cbs, and obviously read him at cbssports.com as well. Dennis, that was awesome. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate that.
You got it, guys. Thank you.
There you go. He joined us on the Progressive guest line. He couldn't stand it that you don't want us to promote and talk about the Heisman Trophy. We can't write about it. We can't talk about it. Okay, here's my vote. I'm not going to do it anymore. I totally get where he's coming from.
Yeah. Yep. Also, Tim Murray, because we were talking with Tim Murray on the show yesterday, and once we got through the press conference and then the contract leaked out, then you saw the buyout, the buyout went down to.
Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, boy.
All right, don't sleep on this coach as a home favorite. 16-2 straight up and 12 covers ATS since 2021. I'll give you the coach next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We will close with plenty of picks and props coming up, and we'll get to Nigel in a second. In sports betting and trading, probability is a key to success. Discover the power of high probability trading with Todd Bubba Horowitz, former floor trader and sports bettor with over 45 years of experience. Visit BubbaTrading.com/VSiN. Use code VSiN500 to save $500. Don't miss the chance to gain the edge in your trading game today. BubbaTrading.com/VSiN. Promo code VSiN500. Good to have you aboard. Always check out VSiN.com, the prop analyzers, all the great content, including Nigel Seeley, who's been hot with his picks. He always does his weekly write-up on soccer and the Premier League. And we start with the Premier League and Saturday early with Arsenal and Everton. Take it away, Nigel.
Hello everyone, it's Nigel Seeley here, back again for a very exciting weekend of Premier League action at the top and at the bottom of the best league across the world for soccer bettors. The first match I'm going to concentrate involves Arsenal, who slipped up last week with a draw at Fulham. I expect them to bounce back to winning ways when they host Everton at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal are very, very heavy favourites here, almost minus $5 to win this match. Everton are around about 1,400 and the draw is plus 510. Arsenal have been unbeaten at home this season, 9 wins and 2 draws in their 11 matches at the Emirates in all competitions. And for Everton, not a good run at the moment. They've lost their last 3 road matches. They haven't scored in any of those matches, and they failed to score in 4 of their last 5. Now, the last 3 home matches for Arsenal included the midweek 3-0 win against Monaco. They won 10-0. Last season, no team won 10-0 more than Arsenal in the Premier League. And if they are going to close Liverpool down, Tottenham almost said there, they are going to close Liverpool down at the top of the Premier League table. They're going to do so with that brilliant defence, Saliba and Gabriel. We know how good they are from set pieces. We know Saka assists. We know the strength from the defenders from corners. And I expect Arsenal to win 10-0. So instead of betting minus 500 on Arsenal on the money line, Arsenal to win and not concede a goal is minus 110. And I think that is the best bet in what looks a tricky little weekend of fixtures in the Premier League. So Arsenal minus 110 to win 10-0 against Everton. My second bet is on Sunday, and it's a prop, actually. It's in the match involving Chelsea. Chelsea are at home, and they score goals at home. They're exceptionally good at home getting goals, and they're up against a side, I can't remember who they are, Brentford, that is it. Brentford have been brilliant at home, not so good away from home. And Chelsea, I expect to score lots and lots of goals. They've been a breath of fresh air this season. They've scored 16 goals in their last 5 matches at Stamford Bridge, and the main man for them who gets the goals is their striker, Cole Palmer. I don't think there's a better player in the Premier League at the moment than the England international Cole Palmer. And you can bet Palmer at even money to score at any time. Now, at the moment, he's only a couple of goals behind Haaland. He's behind Salah, I think, by 2 goals. He is the informed player. If this was a Haaland or a Salah playing this match at home to Brentford, those players would be about minus 275. At even money, Cole Palmer, who takes penalties, scored 2 penalties last time out against Tottenham. I expect Cole Palmer to get on the score sheet in another convincing win for Chelsea, who host Brentford, who are dreadful on the road. 7 matches, 6 defeats, and 1 draw. In the lower leagues, I'm only going to give you 2 bets there. If you want to get some more of my props and more of my bets in the Premier League, you can on the VSiN website on the app in my Premier League column. 1 bet for you in English lower leagues, and it's a team that I have been with since the start of the season, MK Dons. They had a terrible start. They've won 6 successive matches now in the league, in League 2, and they've moved up to just inside the playoff places. I think they're the best team in this league. I believe they win this league. If you want to bet them on the futures, MK Dons are a fantastic bet at around about 7-1. They have the richest owners in the league. They're owned by the Kuwaiti royal family. They will spend fortunes in January, and as long as they're in touching distance, I think they'll come on in the second half and win this division. The bookmakers haven't rebased on them. They are still being priced up as though they were sort of a mid-table to top 6 side. They're better than that. They're an automatic promotion bet for me. I like them this weekend to beat Gillingham. They're minus 133. It may be a little bit short for people, but they, in my opinion, they should be minus $2 to win this match. So MK Dons to beat Gillingham. I watched Gillingham last week, or a couple of weeks ago actually, in a match against Bromley. They lost 2-1. They create lots of goal-scoring chances, but they can't put the ball in the back of the net. But MK Dons can. In their last 8 matches, they've scored at least 2 goals. So they've got the firepower. Gillingham don't. They're a real good side. League 2, MK Dons, minus 133. So they're my 3 picks for you. Firstly, Arsenal to win 2-0 against Everton, minus 110. Cole Palmer, the informed Cole Palmer, to score at any time, Chelsea against Brentford at even money. And finally, in England's League 2, MK Dons, minus 133 to beat Gillingham. Come on, the Dons. I think they win the league as well. If you're not on the futures, if you've got a book that takes the price, $7, MK Dons to win League 2. That'll pay for Christmas and next year's Christmas as well. Take care. I'll speak to you all again next week, and check out my column on the VSiN website and app.
Oh, excellent. He's a pro, baby. And I have futures on MK Dons before the season.
So he's saying add more on them.
Yeah, he's saying add more because how much their money they have and they're going to spend in January. They are in 7th place in the table. They have 2 games in hand on Port Vale and Doncaster, who are 2nd and 3rd. So if you're assuming you're going to give them 2 wins there, with the 2 games in hand, that puts them only 1 back Walsall. So that's big.
I got
that's
them at 8-1. They're 7-1 right now, huh? Add some more? Okay.
Good breakdown. I got a juicy one for you in League 1.
Okay.
You're not to be trifled with. Do not mess with the Wycombe Wanderers. Wycombe, top of Table 1. They lead League 1. They're playing Shrewsbury Town, worst team in the league. There's a 29-point disparity there in the table.
Okay.
They're like $1.30.
What's going on? What do we need to know about it?
Goes back to what we're talking about with the Meat Man all the time too, right?
With
we just had
Port Vale
and Morecambe, whatever it was. So I don't care. We're road, home, whatever. Pakistan doesn't. I'm going to take the team that's in first place against the worst team and lay the $1.20.
That was League 1?
That's League 1. That's Wycombe. Wycombe against the Wanderers. Yes, against Shrewsbury Town. So your level of excitement for Army Navy, and do you have an opinion? 16-1-1 underrun.
I'm always excited about this. I did travel back east.
You went to one of the games.
A couple times in a row. One time it was in Philadelphia. Other time was in Baltimore. It was so cool to be back there. So, I mean, this game is always going to be. But that's been, even before I ever went back, I was like, this thing, you have to watch it on TV. This
is also, how often do you see these teams this good and with this record?
Well, never.
I mean, Army 11-1, almost. I mean, stranger things have happened, but you had to beat Notre Dame, but it was actually in the rankings discussion and playoff discussion. Certainly if someone stubbed their toe a couple times down the stretch, Boise included, maybe they could have snuck in there. That win against Tulane in that environment was awesome.
Well, hold on. And so now the total's back to 40?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it.
So 40 down to 38, back to 40?
Yeah, it's the same handicap, though. They're looking at each other in the mirror. I mean, Navy slings it a little bit, but it's what Army's going to do. Here comes Daly 35 times.
Right. So my question would be for the number going back to 40 is, are we putting too much stock in how good the offenses have been overall this year compared to how these teams know each other and what you just said? It's been similar. I mean, for 100 years, they ran exactly the same stuff, and that's why the games would be 17-13 final. But I like your bet if anybody can find that, and that would be no score in the first 5.
Mm-hmm.
You probably got to lay $3 or something like that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's
$1.50? What?
I don't know. So I'm anxious to see.
I thought it would be a huge number.
I don't know how it would be. It hasn't been that outrageous the last couple of years.
There's also money on Navy.
Well, it's a tough spot, don't you think? I mean, you're coming off that tough game in terms of the scheduling spot where you go, how you had to finish, right? Notre Dame, then the Tulane game. You had the close call against San Antonio. Things flip. You get the game at home, and Navy's been sitting around with a double bye, what they had.
Well, okay, so will you be shocked if this is 23-3 Army final score?
Yes.
So you expect it to be much closer than that?
Yeah.
I just think that this Army team is the best one that we've seen.
They're awesome. And the defense is real, too. 11th against the run.
Yeah, they're like really... So what, they got blown up by Notre Dame?
Yeah. A lot went wrong for them.
That's not the be-all, end-all.
Yeah, you had the block punt early on, yeah.
And let's be honest here.
Well, Notre Dame might win the whole thing.
Right, and Navy also got blown out by them.
Yes.
So when these two teams, let's say Army played other teams that are in the playoffs, maybe they would lose by 30 every single time. So would Navy. But maybe when these two teams play, I think this is the best Army team that we've, ever seen, question mark? I wasn't alive when they were winning titles back in the 40s, Paulie.
And I don't know. But I am also here for the props just because of Superman at quarterback and Daly, 29 touchdowns. $4 anytime touchdown. Plus 165 first touchdown of the game.
Okay, I don't hate that.
Only 4-1 to score 3 times. $1.90 to have 110 yards rushing.
Again, I will say this. Again, I was trying to find a way to attack Ashton Jeanty props middle of the season when he was like minus 4,000 to score a touchdown. You could find, in some cases, like 2-1 to score the game's first touchdown. And it came in like 3 straight weeks. People are going to say, terrible value. Well, that's the game plan. He was going to run the ball a lot and potentially break one off, and they were playing bad teams, so they weren't going to score right away. If Army gets the ball first, are you not feeling like exceedingly good about having him plus 165 first touchdown of the game? I would be.
I'm fine with it, too, if Navy gets it.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a good defense, Army.
Sure, true.
They got a hell of a team.
VSiN host Mike Somich on the program coming up next. He has a ton of bets he likes, including player props in the NFL. He'll run them down for you coming up here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, we're going to send a lot of picks in right now. A lot of bets, a lot of player props. VSiN host Mike Somich joins us here in studio. He does a great job on the weekends here. His show is called Ready, Set, Bet, Saturday and Sunday evenings on VSiN with Matt Braun. Good to see you again, sir. How are you?
Doing great. Happy to be back here in Vegas. Had a weekend off last week. Was home with the family. Was solo parenting, which is always a little tough on the weekends. We got the full college football slate, the full NFL slate. So excited to be back and focused here in Vegas.
I asked Paulie what his best bet was in the NFL this weekend.
Ooh.
He paused, smiled, and he goes, the Jets. You like him too?
I do love me some Jets this weekend.
Oh,
It's my second favorite bet on the board. I can't get to them laying 3 in this situation. You got that terrible Jacksonville defense. I don't think their offense is nearly as good as what people project. You look at that game last weekend where you have the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Titans 10-6, and it was just the Titans should have won that game by multiple scores. They just did what the Titans do when they got down to the red zone. On the other side, this Jets team got that passing game going against Miami, and now you get to walk in and take on a Jacksonville secondary they should be able to eat up. If you've been watching my segments on this show, I have been trashing the Jacksonville secondary week after week after week, and now you get an opportunity where, no, the Jets have not been great against man coverage, but those are against better teams. Now you got a situation where we're laying just 3 points across the board here. I think that's too low. I thought this game should be closer to 4.5, so I like the Jets quite a bit on Sunday, and I want to take advantage of this game from a player prop perspective as well. We saw Aaron Rodgers go over 300 yards for the first time in what feels like a decade last week against the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. When you're looking at the man coverage, I want to focus specifically on Devontae Adams. So I like Rodgers over his passing prop. That's sitting at 232.5 right now. I think that should be closer to 250. But Adams is his go-to guy when you're sitting in that man coverage. He's going to look at that back shoulder throw. He's going to try and look for those slants with him. Right now, Adams sitting at just 65.5 from a receiving perspective. I'll take the over on Adams on that number. And then I'm going to ladder him all the way up to 120. You can get 100 yards at plus 320, and you get 120 yards at plus 600. So like Adams quite a bit this weekend. And then give me some Allen Lazard as well. He got injured. People kind of forgot about him.
Sure.
If you rewind to this part of the season where you had Adams, you had Wilson, you had Lazard.
It was a bromance.
Lazard was getting 50+ a game.
He was.
And everyone kind of forgot. And now we're sitting at 22.5 yards. I like Alan Lazard quite a bit to go over that 22.5 yard mark as well. So I will be heavily invested in this Jets game and watching it, which is, I guess, my penance here for betting on the Jets and picking some player props.
Okay. What are you thinking here with the Lions game under?
54.5 is too high. It's one of those stances where I made this game 52.5 and we just keep going and going and going. I have actually not bet this yet. I'm going to see if we can get the 55 before I put it in. If I start seeing any type of under money, I'll put a half unit at 54.5 and see what it ends up at. But when I look at this game and I break this down as to how Detroit wants to stay in the game, we know they're banged up on the defensive side. It's going to be all about the running game. So then you ask yourself the question, can Detroit run the football against Buffalo? Well, I think it's a pretty resounding yes. I mean, the Bills are giving up 123 yards per game on the ground. It's a big, physical Detroit offensive line. You've got a two-headed backfield, Montgomery and Gibbs. If I'm Detroit, my game plan this week is to just bleed the clock, keep your defense off the field as much as possible and run the football. If they have success doing that, it will be very difficult to get to 54.5 unless it's all sevens in this game. So I like the under there. You can find Lions team total rushing props at 134.5 for the game. I'll take the over on 134.5. That's available on Caesars right now. It's not up on DraftKings. But that team total rushing to me is very interesting. If I took one guy, it'd be Gibbs, because he plays in every game state here. If Buffalo gets up big, he's the running back they have trying to come back. If it's a close game, you're going to see them going back and forth on drives between Gibbs and Montgomery. But I just like the team total over 134.5 rush yards.
Would you play a combination there of either one of those guys rushing and receiving? Bills, majority of the year, they were really bad against guarding running backs in the passing attack.
Again, it'd be Gibbs, if anybody, for me.
Sure,
because
okay.
if you are in chase mode here, Gibbs is going to be your running back because he's just so much more explosive. He's more the guy that can create big plays and create points for you. Montgomery's great, but he's not going to bust the 50, 60-yard play all that often. That's something Gibbs can consistently do. This would be one where if you have in-game props available as well, I would take a look at if the Bills get up 10 points, if the Bills get up 14 points, I want to come in on Gibbs props because he's going to be the running back that's going to get the majority of the snaps in that type of game state.
That's going to become very popular, by the way. Live in-game player props.
I love it.
It's awesome.
I mean, especially at halftime when you can sit and you know what the script is going to be in the second half. Matt and I on Ready, Set, Bet, we're on during the Sunday Night Football game, and we have absolutely killed it with live player props because you can jump in and you understand exactly what one team's goal is going to be to move the football and then focus in on the players that projects to help.
Very good.
Monday night doubleheader. Why are the Vikings only 6.5 against this dead Bears team?
I have no clue. So you mentioned the Jets, favorite bet right here. Give me the Vikings minus 6.5 is my favorite bet on the card. I absolutely love this one. We're seeing it tick up to 7 here at Circa. It just went to 7 at DraftKings as well. If you can find a 6.5 on the Vikings, I think it's an awesome number. If you're wind back to week number 12, these two teams played in Chicago. The Vikings were a 3-point favorite that day. I have the Vikings as a point better, and the Bears is a point worse since week 12. So I would have made that spread 5. Then you flip for home field advantage. Vikings have one of the best home field advantages in the NFL. On top of it, you get a Monday night game. I make this game like 8.5. So I was shocked this was sitting underneath that total. And people that look back and say, well, Chicago had success against this Vikings defense in that game. Well, kind of, sort of. They were down 17 points in the fourth quarter. The game went to overtime. The Vikings ended up winning by 3, but it took a touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick, and field goal in the last 2 minutes to push the game to overtime. So it really wasn't that close, and you had a lot of breaks that went Chicago's way late in that game. This Vikings team right now on offense specifically is a truck. They should be able to run the ball with Jones. They've got multiple good pass options, both the wide receivers and the tight end. So I think Minnesota picks the score offensively, and I think the defense plays a lot better and is able to close the game out this time.
Yeah, that's a good bet. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mike Somich, our guest. His show is called Ready, Set, Bet, Saturday and Sunday nights right here on VSiN. Player props now. I bet the over 42.5 in the Cowboys-Carolina game. Both defenses are so bad. You want to attack this again with another player prop. Who do you like?
Yeah, I do. I kind of want to bet the Cowboys plus 3.
I do too.
I made this Panthers -1, so I wasn't surprised when they became the favorite. I'm surprised it's gotten to 3, though. The full field goal here seems like we're getting a little aggressive. I don't mind the over. Both of these rushing defenses absolutely stink. I don't hate the Dowdle prop, but I'm going to go with Hubbard instead on the Carolina side. If you've watched this Carolina team all season long, they will feed Hubbard no matter the game state. So even when they're down, they're still trying to find ways to get Hubbard to 20 carries. Well, now you have a game state where it looks like that's probably going to be something you want to do, where if you have a lead, you want to protect it. And if you're in a close game, you're going to attack this Cowboys rush defense, which stunk before the injury last week. Now you lose your best linebacker, and all of a sudden we're sitting in a position where the third worst rush defense in the NFL probably is going to be even worse this week. And you get Chuba Hubbard, who's consistently getting a lot of carries. He's sitting at 81.5. I'll take the over on 81.5 rush yards, and I'll ladder him up to 100. You can get plus 160 on over 100 yards here. Like I said, I like Dowdle too, but I think Hubbard is guaranteed to get those carries based on the way this game state's going to be.
How about Washington pounding the Saints? Off the bye, Hayner's the quarterback.
It feels like it's one of those spots where Washington should just be able to take care of business. I'm upset with myself. I didn't get a 7 on this game. Now we're sitting at 7.5. I think it's probably your best teaser leg on the board.
Okay.
If you can't get the 6.5 on the Vikings, I don't hate the Vikings tease with Washington. You can play those two together, get them both 1.5 point right there. I really like Jaden Daniels' rush prop over 40.5 here. This is another situation where early in the season we were seeing this rushing number significantly higher for him. Then we had the rib injury, and all of a sudden the carries went down. Well, we had 6 teams have a late bye this year. Washington, one of those 6 teams, you saw Daniels get healthy when he got to the bye. Now you have the full week. I think you're going to see Daniels at 100% again. If that's the case, he ends up with somewhere between 8 and 12 rushes in this spot. That projects him to be closer to the 50 number in rushing versus that 40.5 number. So I'll take Daniels over 40.5 rush yards.
You have a very healthy bet on Bo Nix to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Where are you at with that? Did you ever get down on Daniels at all, or no?
I did not get down on Daniels. I am just rolling with Bo Nix, and this is a very, very big week for that 16-1 ticket.
Huge
so
for that award.
If we can get the win this week, and I like the Denver team this week to win the game. I'm not going to touch the spread. I think 4.5 is a little bit thick. I would have said maybe 3.5 for Denver, but I do like Denver to win the game, and because of that, I'm going to keep rolling with it, and we'll see what Daniels is able to do against the Saints.
All right. Do you have a horse for us?
Delta down?
Of course I do.
Oh, look.
Right here on top, baby.
All right.
Los Alamitos Thoroughbred,
All right.
race number 8. Give me the number 7 horse, Itzel. We're going to go gate to wire. This is a horse that is a clear lone speed horse. The 4 is going to be the favorite, probably close to even money when the race goes off. I like the 7 horse who has a tactical advantage from a speed perspective. We're switching from turf to dirt, but we talked about this last time. This is a good racetrack for horses who are turf horses, and we're adding blinkers, which is a big thing for speed horses. It focuses them well, allows them to be able to extend that speed a little longer. So we're going the number 7 Itzel, race number 8 at Los Alamitos Thoroughbred.
Just to win it outright? You want to do anything funny with it? You want to do any exotics at all?
Anything funny?
If I was going to play an exact, I would play a 7-4 Colt. I do think the 4 horse who's your favorite has a very good shot of running in the top 2. Most likely winner in the race, but the price isn't going to be right from a win perspective. I do like the 7 Itzel on top. So I'll play him to win, and then I play a 7-4 exact to Colt.
Awesome. Love it. Catch his show, Ready, Set, Bet, Saturday and Sunday nights with Matt Brown right here on VSiN. Mike, that was great. Thanks so much. Good luck this weekend.
You got it, guys. Good luck.
In Pocket plays what we're betting next here on VSiN.